I didn't know the guitar was gone until I noticed the silence. It used to lean in the corner of my old bedroom even after I moved out. My grandmother's 1963 Gibson, aged maple. Sunburst finish worn thin where her wrist had rested for decades. It wasn't just valuable, it was specific. It had her rhythm in it. When I asked my mother where it was, she answered too quickly. We sold it. You weren't using it. My father added, practical as always. It appraised high 71,000. Your sister needed the kitchen done. It made sense. Made sense. I stood there absorbing the number, not because of the money, but because of the quiet assumption behind it, that something given to me could be repurposed if the family voted on it. It was mine. I said, not loudly. My mother's mouth tightened. Don't be dramatic. It's still in the family. The money helped your sister. That old pressure slid into place. I was the stable one, the single one, the one who didn't need things. Caring too much about an object would make me small. For a moment, I almost agreed with them. I drove to my grandmother's house that evening. I didn't plan to tell her, but she asked about it immediately. She always asked about it. Did you keep it humidified this winter? She said, smiling faintly. The words caught in my throat. I told her. She didn't cry, that was worse. She just sat very still in her armchair, hands folded in her lap. They sold it? She asked quietly. For 71,000. A long pause. The clock ticked behind her. I had it appraised 2 years ago, she said finally. For the estate. I assumed she meant sentimental inventory. I nodded, unsure. That guitar was not just a gift, she continued. It was a conditional bequest. I transferred it into your name formally. There's documentation. It was never theirs to sell. Something shifted in the air. I stared at her. What does that mean? It means, she said carefully, that if they sold it without your consent, they misappropriated property. Her voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. When we told my parents, the color drained from my father's face first. My mother blinked twice, as if trying to refocus the room. That's ridiculous, she said. It was in our house. Grandma didn't argue. She simply said, possession is not ownership. There was no shouting, just a tightening. 3 days later, a certified letter arrived at my parents' address from the estate attorney. It requested documentation of the sale, confirmation of the buyer, and an accounting of where the proceeds had been allocated. The language was clinical, precise, unemotional. I hadn't asked her to do that. She had done it herself. My sister called me that night. Are you really going through with this? She asked. I could hear the echo of her new kitchen in the background, the open space, the stone counters. I didn't start anything, I said. I just didn't agree to finish it quietly. There was a pause. It's just money. No, I said. Wasn't. My parents tried a different tone after that, softer, strategic. Do you really want to tear the family apart over this? My mother asked when we met again. The framing was familiar. My resistance as destruction. My silence as virtue. I surprised myself by not reacting. I want to be treated like I exist, I said evenly. Not like I'm extra inventory. That was the first time I saw something like recognition flicker across my father's face. Not apology, just awareness that the dynamic had shifted. The lawyer's involvement made everything tangible. The buyer was contacted. The transaction trail was confirmed. The 71,000 had already been poured into cabinetry and marble and contractor deposits. Recoverable, but not painless. Negotiations followed. Payment plans, refinance options. The kitchen stopped feeling celebratory. Grandma never gloated. She didn't even mention the guitar again. One afternoon, while I was helping her organize old sheet music, she said quietly, the guitar was proof that I saw you, that you carried something forward. That sentence stayed with me longer than the legal letter. In the end, my parents agreed to repay the value over time, not because I threatened them, because the alternative was worse, official, public. Family dinners changed after that. Conversations became measured. There was a new caution in how decisions were made when I was in the room. No one apologized in a dramatic way. There were no tears across a table, just adjustments. The strangest part was realizing I didn't feel triumphant. I felt steady. The guitar is still gone. I don't know if I'll ever see it again, but something else returned to me in its place. I stopped auditioning for approval. When my mother once again suggested that I was too sensitive, I didn't defend myself. I didn't argue. I simply said, "That's not how I see it." And I let the silence stand. Love, I've learned, is not proven by what you surrender. It's revealed by what people assume they're allowed to take. They don't assume that anymore.